Hi everyone, and welcome to my Procreate demo for the piece Queen of Skulls. So this was a really interesting piece because when I originally did this sketch, as you can see, there's a lot of transparent elements. I sort of didn't know what I was doing when I was designing it. I was just sort of having fun. I was taking a lot of the lines that you just draw through, and I was sort of making them solid and trying to figure out later what am I going to do with these pieces when I take it to color. So the first step that I do here, because it's Procreate and I'm trying to figure out workarounds for certain issues, here I just sort of blocked in the exterior shape, and then I was trying to play with just like what am I going to do with this piece overall. By blocking out the exterior shape, I could then get a solid interior shape to use as a silhouette to just sort of use for cutting here and there as time went on. So right now I'm just blocking in the main body of the skin of the main body, and then the skin of the main arm. I'm trying to block in all these different sections because I don't really know what I'm going to do yet to honor the transparency. About now I start getting the idea that I think instead of rendering everything in layers of paint, I'm going to do things as solid and then do like a shadow layer and then control the opacity of each one of those individual layers to try and get the transparency. So you can see I'm painting through the form in a lot of these. I don't really know at this point. I didn't establish like what the shapes of everything was that was being drawn through, because I was sort of doing it haphazardly in the drawing, knowing that I wasn't going to have to actually solve those problems in the drawing, and now here I am in the painting trying to solve those problems. So here I'm noodling in the eyelashes, and then starting to go back in and figure out like, well, if this chunk of hair is in the foreground here and this chunk is there, what's the transparency of all these different elements going to be? I knew I wanted the skulls to be solid and I wanted them to be metallic, so that was solved for me. I knew the eyes were going to be solid. I knew I wasn't going to make the eyes weirdly see-through through the skin, although that might be cool in some ways. I didn't want to have to try and solve that. And I knew the headband was going to be solid, and I knew I wanted the nails to be metal like the skull. So those things were all solved for me. It was more about the glow and then the see-through elements of her body, her hands, her hair, and her head and her body and all that stuff. So here you see me lowering the opacities of everything. I'm starting to try and play with how transparent is everything going to be. Then I'm going in and putting the shine in, which that was also like how much transparency is the shine going to have on the hair, what sort of looks right with these materials that don't really exist that I'm defining. I mean, you could say that they're sort of like jelly or glass, or like there's a lot of things you could say they might feel like, but when I was going in and painting it, I just didn't really know what I was going to make it. I also didn't want to go nuts with this piece and do lots of rendering and lots of tricks, so I wanted to keep things simple while still trying to give all that depth and weird transparency. Real quick, I went in there and I had her sort of casting a shadow in the background just by taking her main shape and duplicating it and shifting it and blurring it, because I knew that I was going to have that skull glow eventually. So now I'm going in and banging in all the shadows for where the glow is cast. I made the ball glow a little bit more, did some hand glow like right immediate there, and then here I turned everything off just so I could focus on the skulls and make sure that they looked how I wanted them to, and I wasn't losing them and everything else. That's why all the other layers are turned off for this. You can see those skull shadows in the distance to try and hint that there are skulls back there, sort of on the other side of the hair. Now here I am putting in a bounce light in order to help define her shape a little bit more. Put a little bit of highlight on there, some lip work, and then a lot of crazy texture work at the end. I know that went fast. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you like, please hit subscribe. And if you're looking for me on the internet, these are the places where you can find me.